What's up, everybody? It's Jacob. Thanks for coming out. Saturday night, Valentine's Day. So everybody, hope you're having a good Valentine's Day. It's been quite a crazy last couple of weeks for me. I missed last week's live streams, kind of came down with something, so thought I'd just take that weekend off and recover. And wouldn't you know it, the week after was even crazier. I had a lot of it was a weird week in that I had a lot of people come out of the woodwork that I hadn't talked to in a long time. And so I just spent a lot of my free time just networking with people, just trying to dig up more opportunities. And then to cap it off on Friday, I had this really weird reunion that I found out about in the grapevine, where there was an accelerator that I had a startup out of with a group of guys. And I thought, oh yeah, it'd be cool to go to this thing and network, and ended up being like super traumatic. Like, it brought back like all this startup trauma that I didn't know I had from like 10 years ago. But I did make some connections, so maybe I'll get a couple job opportunities out of it. So at least I did that. Maybe I had to just go through the gauntlet. I don't know. But anyway, how you all doing tonight? Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me all right. I've got my levels. And I thought that, oh, by the way, welcome to Glitched by AI, formerly known as Retarded. There's a story behind this. This is what I was going to call the live stream, but every AI that I tried to talk to about, oh, thanks, Lisa, I appreciate it. Every AI I tried to talk to you about making this thumbnail strongly recommended that I do not do it. So I was like, all right, if I had 3 separate AIs tell me don't do it, Jacob, then I thought I should probably listen. So I ended up on this. But I was, yeah, bad words. Even though I tried to, change it a little bit. I mean, you couldn't even like give me an asterisk or something. Come on, ChatGPT. But anyway, that's kind of how it goes with AI. You got that political correctness. Yeah, we got quite a slate tonight. And Lisa, yeah, I'm not gonna do anything. I'm not gonna do the obvious. I'm not gonna do anything romance related or anything like that. I was tempted to kind of like talk a little bit about like AI relationships and things like that, but I don't know. It just seemed a little too on the nose. And to me, honestly, Valentine's has just kind of been another day to me all these years. I haven't really had like a serious relationship. God, I can't even remember for such a long time that even like made it to Valentine's Day. It always seems like it just never, gets there. So I thought, all right, well, I'll just relieve. I had enough trauma this week with all my former coworkers. Why do I want to add more? So I'm going to talk a little more about all kinds of things, which kind of leads me into the future of this channel. As you know, I'm not doing long form videos as often because basically whatever I do, the algorithm just doesn't respond. Like, it just doesn't seem to matter. So that's fine, whatever. And I think what's going on is that advertisers are pulling out. I just don't think there's enough advertisers to feed the content that's being created. And it's getting rough out there for a lot of people. So I think we're kind of getting like that COVID run to social media, where a lot of people, they went back to social media thinking it's going to be the gravy days again. And it's just not the same. So what I'm doing now is I'm just focusing on quality. So I'm actually in pre-production on about 9 videos right now. And I'm not even sure if I'm going to put them on this channel. But I'll tell you a little bit about them. They're basically, as a lot of you know, I was a software engineer for many years, and now I'm doing cloud architecture, basically where software lives, where AI lives, for those of you that are non-technical, it doesn't matter. But I'm trying to do more personal branding around Jacob, the cloud architect, and what a lot of people do that are more technical. They want to talk about the how things are connected, and the inner workings. To me, that's boring. So what I'm trying to do is I've been talking with AI, and there's a lesson in this. So I'm not just trying to like flex or just tell a random story. There is a lesson in this for people that want to maybe pick up some more AI skills or kind of figure out how you want to talk to AI and not lose yourself in it, which is kind of a little bit of tonight's theme, by the way. One dot that I want to throw out there is that, like I was saying, a lot of people, when they talk about technology, especially in my field, they want to get into the nitty gritty. I want to tell stories. I want to tell my experience. And you've experienced that quite a few times if you've been on my live streams before. I've talked about like the history of the internet, history of e-commerce, but not from a perspective of someone who designs software and why that history influences how software or cloud infrastructure design may not be interesting to you, but it could be interesting to a CTO or other cloud architects that are looking to hire a fellow cloud architect. So I'm debating on whether or not I want to put those on the channel here. Maybe I'll play a little bit as I make those, just to kind of see how you guys react to it, see how accessible it is. But I like to tell stories about how technology has shaped the way things are going today. And that is kind of the theme of this channel, where I talk a lot about how AI affects relationships, it affects the job market, but I never really go super deep into more of like the history of why things work the way they work. But anyway, yeah, just more of a branding thing that I'm going to put on LinkedIn and see if I can pull in some interest. And I just kind of want to focus more on that. And to be honest, the live streams have a life of their own, and people seem to respond more to the live stream. So I'm just going to continue to do that for now. Which kind of brings me to one thing that happened here at my when I was meeting with some of my former startup cohort at the accelerator I was telling you about. We all went out to dinner, and this is like from 10 years ago. And one of the individuals there is actually a technical recruiter, and he was telling me a lot of the interesting things that people are doing with AI to get into the door. And I've talked about a few of these things, like removing their accents, faking who they look like, to just mashing their resume into something they totally aren't. And then when they get in the interview, they just totally blow up. But one thing he talked about, I didn't know about this, but he's been dealing with people from North Korea submitting resumes as if they're someone from Texas. And what the game is they interview and they'll get the job, and then they split their work amongst like 3 or 4, 5 other cohorts, and they just crank out the work. And then he didn't talk about this. I said, but yeah, it's obviously it's going to go beyond that. They're going to steal secrets, right? They're going to look at how technology is built in the States, and then not only get the work and access to the technology that they're banned from, but implement it in North Korea. So I found this news report that I'm going to show you that kind of goes into that in a little detail. But one more thing that I kind of wanted to mention on the future of this channel is that in the last several months, I've been I don't know if it's the algorithm feeding me content, but I kind of just been noticing that everybody's just starting to kind of sound like me. Like I feel like people are just saying the same things that I'm saying. So kind of the reason why I wanted to go more into this like North Korean thing. And I'm going to talk about something else. I dug really hard for tonight's live stream. Something else that no one's really looking at in the future of work, AI, and how it's going to affect retirement. So stick around for that. But for now, let's take a look at this news report put out by, let's see here, ABC News, that talks about this North Korean scam that's going around. And there's another scam too that I'm going to mention here. But this is, I think, kind of like the reason why some jobs are kind of, like why it's even harder to get jobs. So let's watch this real quick. Make sure I have the mute off.
Now to a fraud scheme being compared to something from a James Bond movie involving big money and a threat to national security. It's a scam straight out of the movies.
It's like living in a spy movie, like something out of James Bond, man.
But it wasn't 007 fighting bad guys overseas.
She changed the access codes.
Instead,
It makes it more serious in a Scottish brogue.
4 North Korean agents are accused of pretending to be IT workers here in the U.S. so they could infiltrate American companies and steal money to fund North Korean weapons programs.
They were doing a great job until October that year, where there was $30,000 missing.
The suspects allegedly used stolen IDs to get jobs as remote IT workers.
Check that out. Like even in North Korea, they can get the fake IDs. They can get the social security numbers. We got to start locking this shit down, man, because it's going to get worse with AI. This is humans doing this, right? This is not like AI subterfuge. But I just wanted to show this to you. All right, fair use YouTube, continuing on.
And what the FBI says was a North Korean government operation to defraud companies all over the world. One victim was Atlanta-based tech entrepreneur Marlon Williams. He says the suspect spent months earning his trust.
March of 2022 is when they executed what I call the big hack, close to 800,000, and then wiped all their chats, all the history that we had.
The suspects manipulating digital
They probably exfiltrated all the data too.
contracts and shuffling funds to cover their tracks. The FBI now offering a $5 million reward for information leading to the team's arrest, while warning that potentially hundreds of phony IT workers may still be inside U.S. companies. More than 1 million.
Yeah, so these guys were inside the company, but a lot of this is happening online as well too. All right, so let me queue up the next thing here, real quick. Yes, here we go. So there's a new, so if you got kids active on social media, there's a new scam going around, AI, and I'll play this news report and then I will comment on it. It's called, don't click on the wrong button,
now
Jacob.
to a new trend.
No, it's called AI warning after new social media trend steals important data. Check this out.
You've probably seen sweeping social media. People are asking AI chatbots to make caricatures of themselves based on the information they've shared with ChatGPT. It's become very popular and seems like a bit of fun, but could there be a dark side lurking beneath these smiley cartoons?
Well, to answer that question, we are joined by Dr. Raphael Chiriello from the University of Sydney. Thanks so much for joining us. Now, thanks for having me. We had our own little caricatures done up here. Mine is excessively flattering. I know you couldn't be flattered by anything, Amelia.
Well, I do love the magpies. I don't think I'd ever hold one.
I don't think they prompted those. They had an intern do that.
It's got the Collingwood part, right?
Yes, that's right. You can support the pies without actually holding a magpie.
Not safe.
They just look like fun. What's the problem?
Well, the problem is that your face is sensitive biometric data, right? It's often used in verification, identification, and can be used for surveillance. So if you go and upload a picture of your face yourself into an AI platform, it becomes potentially part of that data set and can then be reused and repurposed for other things, including...
I got news for you. If you've been on social media for the last 10 years, you are already in the system. You're already in there, right? This is kind of a nothing burger in that aspect, but check out this scam.
Deepfakes.
Is it that company that could misuse this, or other people might get access to it?
What is reasonably possible is that you go in, you upload a picture of yourself, it becomes part of the training set, and then somehow it ends up in somebody else's conversations who may not even know you, but they want to generate a picture of someone who looks like you, and then they can use that for different purposes.
So ChatGPT has set up this caricature offering. Plainly, the thing has taken off.
Yeah.
Do you think their real purpose is, in fact, to harvest that sort of private information?
I think there's definitely that incentive for the company to harvest as much private and identifiable data as...
Again, this has been going on since Facebook, right? I talk about algorithms in general. This is before AI algorithms. This data collection stuff's been going on for a long time. When you use something for free, you're paying with your time and your likeness and all the data around your usage. So this is really nothing new.
Possible by giving away your facial features. They have a lot of information about you, your ethnicity, your gender, a lot of other things that can be inferred that it's valuable for them.
You mean by just looking at your picture?
You and I have public profiles, so it's far too late for us. But for people at home who have done this thinking it was just a bit of fun, is it too late? If they take it down, does it solve the problem?
You could theoretically go in there and say, well, in Australia we have data privacy laws.
No, this guy doesn't know how AI brains are wired. Once you're in the brain of the AI, it's nearly impossible to extract you unless they remove your picture from their data set that they train the AI on and then train the AI all over again. And it costs tens of millions of dollars to train an AI. Your picture ain't coming out of there. I'm telling you. All right.
We say these must be stored under certain conditions, and I want that to be removed. Whether or not OpenAI conforms with that is a different matter because they're not based in Australia, they're based overseas, as are many other of these providers. So you may or may not be lucky to actually do something about it, but you would have to put...
Yeah, no, it's done. It's done. Once you're in the system, that's it. And you've been in the system long before AI. That's all I'm saying. Okay, let's put on the next. Speaking of AI companies just doing whatever willy-nilly, there was a big controversy came out of the Super Bowl ads. I don't know if you heard about this, but the Ring camera, like the doorbell cameras, that you ring the doorbell in front of your door and then you can answer it and you can see who it is, but you can also like log in remotely and look out at your front yard, whatever. Well, I don't know if they're going to show the ad in this commercial, but let's let the news report unfold here and then I'll fill you in.
For a Super Bowl ad for popular home security company Ring. And Sam, you've got the details. We spoke with the founder. They're talking out about all of the reaction to this.
Yeah, the reaction happened almost immediately after the ad ran. And you're going to see what they said about the backlash. But with the cost of a Super Bowl ad roughly at about $8 million this year, for Ring, the cost may end up being a little bit higher.
This morning, it's the Super Bowl ad sparking controversy. The home security company Ring promoting a feature that scans footage from Ring cameras in your neighborhood. The ad said to find lost dogs. Some people...
So check that out. So you tell the Ring app your pet is gone, and then it lets all the other Ring cameras know in your neighborhood. And you said, I think you upload a picture of your pet and then tell the app, and then the app tries to recognize your pet on all the other Ring cameras in the neighborhood. And that the big thing is that feature, I believe, is turned on automatically. You have to go into the app and disable it.
Online questioning if the feature could also be used to search for people. Critics vowing to stop using the company's products altogether.
As of today, I no longer use Ring doorbell.
Rival security camera company Wyze even made a parody of the ad.
Well, Wyze isn't really any better, but we'll keep going.
If we could make finding one lost dog require the computational power of a small dictator-led nation state.
But Ring says the feature was built, quote, with strong privacy protections from the start, saying it can find only lost dogs and has no capability to find.
Yeah, but you're only a software upgrade away from making it find humans. And I mean, if you think about it, this is a backdoor for manhunt. right? You know, when the guy who shot Mr. Kirk, right, and he ran away, remember all the footage of all the different security cameras tracking him? They went out and they had to go get it. Now with the Ring cameras, they just call the Ring company and go, yo, this is what our person looks like. Pull it in. Makes it a lot easier for them to do it. So, you know, loss of privacy in exchange for security and privacy, right? Your safety for security and privacy. Is that a fair trade? What do you think, chat? Let me know. But this is the age-old argument of, oh, it's safer. We're, you know, in the name of children, in the name of pets, assassins. That's the world we're going to live in.
Find people. Ring also says users can opt out of the feature.
This is a privacy-first way of doing things, but it also allows us to, you know, be better neighbors. My mission has always been to make neighborhoods safer.
Ring users also expressing concerns about the Amazon-owned company's partnership with Flock Safety, a surveillance technology company. A company that has contracts with law enforcement to use its automated license plate readers.
See? They're just linking the systems together. We don't need Skynet. Right. You know, also too, where does this data live? So that's like why I was kind of snarky about Wise. Wise have WYZE. A lot of their servers are in China. And I've talked about this before, installing smart devices and having weird software talking to servers in China when the device is supposed to be doing stuff locally. Right? Same thing. Okay, let's continue on.
And Ring yesterday severed its partnership with Flock, saying, quote, no videos were shared with the company, end of quote. Flock saying it has engaged with customers to, again, a quote, understand expectations around accountability, transparency, and lawful use. That's the end of their quote. But this discussion is likely to continue.
But you can opt out, right? We turn it on, but you can opt out. See, it's on by default.
You for a while. Oh,
yeah. And keep a lot of attention on those companies, which could ultimately be good for the companies, because all news can be good news when it comes to a business getting that kind of press after the Super Bowl.
You always need to tell people what you don't like.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a saying in tech, before I get to this comment. Well, it's not just in tech, but it got popular in tech, and that's, you know, it's better to ask for forgiveness or to ask for forgiveness than permission, right? So that's the slippery slope. But yeah, you know, the postman always rings twice, Lily. We all know that. The milkman, he don't gotta knock. He just leaves the bottles on the porch. Clack, clack. All right, let's get back to it. Oh, wait, hold on here. I got to do a little window cleanup. So, you know, I've talked about the usual parade of CEOs coming out and making all these bold announcements to basically cover their ass for all the upcoming layoffs they're going to blame on AI. And we've got another couple stories that I kind of want to go through a little bit, and then talk about some of my experience with AI to call out some of these things, because I'm starting to think that a lot of these announcements are they're not just to cover their own butts, but it's also to keep their stock price high and then use AI as a scapegoat, while at the same time pushing down salaries and keeping the fear in the workers. But let's watch this report from a news report on a viral essay urges people to prepare for rapid advancements in artificial intelligence.
Welcome back to Takeout. Welcome to the Conversation Corner. Something big is happening. That was the title of an essay that has exploded on social media. It was written by a CEO of an AI company. His name is Matt Schumer.
Yeah, like I said, it's always the CEOs of the AI companies, robotics companies. They're doing this so that because they know they're going to lay off people, they're going to blame it on AI because I've been saying, the real layoffs due to AI have barely gotten here. Okay, let's keep going.
He likens this current moment to February 2020, right before the start of COVID. Now, COVID and AI are not the same, but what he says is artificial intelligence is now unrecognizable. This is a quote from what existed even 6 months ago, and he urges everyone to prepare for its advancement, going on to write, quote, given what the latest models can do, the capability for massive disruption could be here by the end of this year. And
they've been saying this every year for the past couple of years. And while, yes, it is true, the AIs are getting better, you still need humans to orchestrate a lot of these AIs. And yes, there are agents that run automatically, but they can't run a very long time without a mistake where a human has to intervene. So I'm going to show another story from another CEO talking some shit about everybody's going to be bye-bye from AI kind of thing. But yeah, let's get back to this real quick. Couple more dots, and then I'll finish up what I want to say.
the connection with COVID, just massive disruptions that people don't necessarily see coming. Nate Soares joins me now. He's coming to us from his hotel room at the Munich Security Conference, staying up late with us, and I appreciate that. He co-wrote, you might remember this because he was on the program before, a book called If Anyone Builds It, Everyone Dies, Why Superhuman AI Would Kill Us All. Nate.
And we're not going to get that with the current AI technology that we have. It's got to be a completely new thing, completely new technology. And I don't think we have it. Unless somebody's got in a lab somewhere that we don't know about, it's not going to happen with the current generative AI that we have.
Do you accept and agree with the central premise in Matt's essay?
Something big is definitely happening. You know, it's not entirely clear that it'll all come to a head inside of 6 months, but it's not entirely clear it won't. We don't really know how fast this technology is going to move, and it's been moving fast recently.
And what Matt argued in this essay is that for the first time, OpenAI and Anthropic's new versions of their AI models coded themselves and taught themselves. If I have the language proper there.
Yeah, they helped in the creation of the next generation. And, you know, right now they only helped a little, but if the AIs can start building quite a lot of the next generation of AIs, you're looking at the possibility of a feedback loop where one AI builds a smarter AI that builds a smarter AI. That could make things go very fast, much faster than people have any ability to handle.
Yeah, but it's still based on human training, human data. Yes, they get slightly better. Yes, it's a better version, but I don't think you're going to get like full human creativity where they're going to totally innovate something completely new, never heard of before, right? It might just be like a little nudge beyond, you know, on the edge of human knowledge. You might see some patterns go beyond that a little bit, but I don't see like super intelligence emerging out of this. And I'll explain more after I read another article why I think this now.
And this essay goes on to say that if you work in law, finance, medicine, accounting, consulting, writing, design, customer service, your job is more threatened than you currently realize.
I think that's true. I think there's a lot of jobs that are going to be disrupted probably fairly soon. I also think, you know, if we do get these AIs building smarter AIs, we're looking at something much bigger than just a lot of people losing jobs.
Please continue, because I know that's the
Let me guess. He's building a product that's doing this.
thrust of your book.
Yeah, I mean, the title doesn't bury the lead, but I think, you know, one thing people don't understand about AI is that it has grown more like an organism rather than being crafted like traditional software. So even the people creating it don't understand what's going on inside there. And they're quick to admit this, although this is often poorly understood outside the field.
That is true.
Growing an AI to be super intelligent when you have no idea what's going on inside there, this is a recipe for disaster. It's not that it's impossible to somehow, you know, make machines that are both very smart and very good. It's that if you're just growing a super intelligence nobody understands, that straightforwardly leads to disaster.
Yeah, I think this is cute and everything, but look, we already have algorithms that are dangerous and out of control. I've already demonstrated many times on this channel, with just even with the basic AIs we have now, you can cause a lot of collateral damage just with raw large language models without any governance or any rules or any control. You can already cause a lot of damage, and that could be perceived as Skynet taking over. AI doesn't understand that it's lying. It doesn't know that it's causing harm literally. This I don't know. I'm just waiting for this guy he's selling something. Maybe it's his book. I don't know.
So I wanted to get your evaluation of this, Nate. You know this. A top safety researcher at Anthropic recently resigned, saying he was leaving that job to go write poetry. In leaving, he wrote this, and please bring this up, Control Room. The world is in peril, and not just from AI or bioweapons, but from a whole series of interconnected crises unfolding in this very moment. We appear to be approaching a threshold where our wisdom must grow in equal measure to our capacity to affect the world, lest we face the consequences.
All right, so you got to look at it from this guy's perspective, the guy who quit to write poetry. He works with AIs that are raw, right? He's working with AIs that before we get access to them. So before they release that stuff to the world, that's why he's saying we're in peril. They wrap a lot of layers of safety and governance around these AIs. They have to, because a tiny hallucination could lead to a lot of collateral damage. So that's where this guy's coming from. And there's a lot of things that these companies do to make them as safe as possible. But again, I've demonstrated that you can erode these safeties. If you talk to an AI long enough, you can kind of get it to back off some of these guardrails, or even tell it, hey, you're playing a role. We're just pretending. So what would you really do? And then the AI says something, right? That's like, oh, wow, I just jailbroke that. So that's where this guy's coming from. Plus two, some of these guys were making like $10 million a year. So, after a couple months, he's set for life. What the fuck does he care? All right, let's get back to it.
How would you evaluate that?
There's a joke in Silicon Valley that when people leave a normal company, they say, oh, I've had fun here. I'm now moving on to the next adventure. And when people leave an AI company, they say, oh, I've stared into the abyss and hug your family close. I'm going to go write poetry, and we've got a lot of problems to face.
It's those raw AIs, like I was saying, because Anthropic does a lot of research around safety to figure out how to govern these things and put guardrails around these things. So he's seen what they can do when these AIs have no guardrails. So that's what he's talking about. He's not talking about the AIs that are put out into the wild for the public to consume, right? But if it's like the Wuhan thing and it gets out, that couldn't be good. That wouldn't be good.
Why is that? I think a lot of it is that the people building the AIs are spooked. No one knows better than they do that they have no idea what's going on inside these things. It's a scary time, and I think people building the AIs know it best.
But honestly, you know what? Personally, you know what I think? Hold on a sec. I think this guy got poached. I think because again, I think there's an AI bubble brewing. Oops, pardon me. That was not appetizing. I apologize. I think this guy got poached and he can't talk about it yet. So he's probably getting ready to announce another position at another company for even more obnoxious money. And just, said something off, kind of off the cuff to make it look good. Because that's how this works in big tech, right? Unless he feels like he made enough money and he's done. But honestly, I think he got poached personally. But let's continue on.
And you are correct, Nate.
Oh, by the way, and the other reason, he left is that because of the bubble was what I was trying to get to is that, and then I gurgled, got distracted, is that he sees the ship sinking. and he wanted to get off before his name got tied to a sinking ship. Opportunity came up, took poach, and went for it. Because that's how it works in tech, bro. So I think that's what's really going on.
When you said the title of your book does not bury the lead, but we talked about this, and I want you to underscore it in this conversation. We are not, individually or as a society, powerless. We can do things to erect guardrails. Walk my audience through your analysis of that potentiality.
That's absolutely right. A first big thing to notice is that putting a stop to the race to superintelligence, it wouldn't require stopping the self-driving cars. It wouldn't require giving up the medical tech. It wouldn't require shutting down ChatGPT. It just requires stopping the race to superintelligence that nobody understands. And these AIs are trained using a huge amount of highly specialized computer chips that can only be built using technology. It's very hard to make. There's very few of these lithography machines anywhere in the world.
Yeah, which if you're reading the news, they're hogging all the CPUs, the memory to make these data centers happen. So I don't really see them pausing anything anytime soon.
This would, in some sense, be much easier to control than nuclear proliferation. You know, uranium is a rock you dig out of the ground. AI chips take the entire supply chain to make. And the other big thing to notice about why we have a real shot here is most of the world leaders have not understood how dangerous this is. People in Silicon Valley are spooked. The people leaving these jobs have stared into the void. They're spooked. People in DC, they still sort of think that AI is just, you know, something that's going to automate art and make it harder to do education, which are real issues, but they're not spooked. They're not seeing this huge danger. And I think it would be very foolish to give up on stopping it before our leaders have even noticed the problem.
You're at the Munich Security Conference, I'm sure, for a reason. What is the tenor and tone of the conversation, if there's any there, in this space?
You know, they invited me to give some remarks, which is progress. I think they still aren't quite grappling with the possibility of AIs that are much smarter than any human, or at least they're not grappling out loud. But there have been a few people at this conference who have noticed me and recognized me and confided in me that they like the book and that they're worried themselves. And then once their turn to speak, they say, you know, platitudes that don't really acknowledge the possibilities here. And, you know.
Yeah, because they all got something to sell, right? They're all selling a product based on this technology. But behind closed doors, they go, oh, God, I started into the abyss. We're all in peril. So, yeah, I don't know how long this hypocrisy is going to go. But yeah, I've had enough of that. Okay, let me move on to the next thing here. Let me set something up. Hold on here. All right, so before I get to one of the main things I want to talk about, and sort of keeping in with today being Valentine's Day, let's watch this news report on Americans turning to AI for emotional therapy and mental health advice, i.e. relationships. I don't know. Let's continue on. Fair use YouTube, by the way. I'm transforming this work with my commentary.
Millions of Americans are turning to AI for emotional therapy. A report in JAMA found about 13% of young people now use an AI chatbot for mental health advice. And in a separate survey, 44% of people say they would much rather start with a chatbot than their family, their friends, or even a professional doctor.
Wow. I didn't know it was that high. What do you think, chat? Do you have private conversations, let's say, or important conversations with the chatbots? I strongly recommend against doing that for privacy reasons. But yeah, apparently this is almost half of people, pretty close to half of people doing that. Wild. Let's continue on.
While some users report very positive experiences, there are significant concerns with safety, privacy, and ethical standards. Dr. Sue Varma is a board-certified psychiatrist and author of the book, Practical Optimism. Good morning to you, Dr. Sue Varma. Good to have you here.
Great, thank you.
Why do you think more people are choosing the chatbots over friends, family, and professional doctors?
You know,
Well, I can kind of, before she speaks, I want to put my 2 cents in. I'll tell you what I think. Number 1, the AI kisses your ass. We got the sycophancy, right? Talked about that before, where it goes, oh, that's a great idea, or yeah, you should continue to do that, or you know, this is a great seed of a thing. Let's go off and do these things over here. Do you want me to expand on that more? And people that have difficulty with social cues tend to fall prey to that sycophancy. And yeah, some of them are, you know, falling for it. What's this? I asked them to make up my passwords for banking. Oh, Lily, that's, I mean, it's one thing to use it to make up the passwords. Okay, but don't tell it you're using to make the passwords for your banking. Just say, make me a password, okay? Let's put a little bit of security in there. I mean, like you're chatting. It's like, would you like me to remind you of your password for banking? That's crazy. All right. But also, too, it's expensive, right? You can get it for free. Let's get back to it.
we used to think that it was because of lack of accessibility, affordability, stigma. But Gail, this is so fascinating. It's fear of judgment above all, right?
There you go, sycophants. What sycophancy is related to sycophant, which is basically ass kiss. That's the fancy word for an ass kisser, right?
Yeah. And we feel that this is a safe space, that we can get instant advice, it's immediate gratification, and the need that there's for constant support and reassurance. There's a lot happening in the world, and people are like, I just need a quick go-to. But there is a price, and it's very important that we understand the limitations.
Well, I hear what you say about immediate gratification, but I have friends who use it that say it's actually very good.
Yeah.
That they will. Do you hear that?
By the way, I have mentioned on occasion on this channel that AI has been around the mid-50s, or since the mid-50s, in different flavors. And one of the first, I don't want to say chatbot, but that's probably the closest thing that you would understand to it, was a chatbot called Eliza that was a therapist. I forgot what the practice was, what type of therapy. But it basically was just a big if then else kind of, complicated program. But it's very convincing. And this was back in the mid 60s, I believe. In fact, let me just really quick call this up for you, because I think you can actually still find one. I think that there's still one that's emulated somewhere. So let me ask Jippity here. Jiminy Cricket. What was the name of the first psychotherapy chatbot in the 60s? I believe it was called Eliza. And is there a place where we can actually try it out in 2026? Yes, here we go. So, yes, it was the first psychotherapy chatbot, was indeed called Eliza. So I guess they're calling it chatbot. It was created in the mid-60s, 1966, by computer scientist Joseph Weizenbaum. Smart tree. I don't know. I'm just making that up. At MIT, running a script called Doctor, or scripting language I think was called Doctor. Eliza used simple pattern matching techniques to imitate Rogerian psychotherapist by, I don't know if I'm saying that right, Rogerian, forgive me. Pattern matching techniques by reflecting users' inputs back as questions or prompts. So basically it was just mirroring. That's the practice of that type of psychotherapy. So it's the idea is like, oh yeah, I hear you, I repeat back what you say. But it's like, kind of reminds me of the Voight-Kampff test in Blade Runner, where the guy's like, so tell me about your mother. All right. So let's see. It was an early natural language processing program that simulated conversation by matching user text to scripted patterns. Its most famous mode, the doctor script, mimicked a non-directive psychotherapist by turning user statements into questions or reflections. Yeah. So you mention your mother, then it goes, yeah, tell me more about your mother. Shit like that. Eliza is widely considered the first chatbot and one of the first programs to explore human-computer conversational interaction. Can you try it today? Yes. While the original 1966 program was written for an MIT mainframe, basically that's like a computer that took up a whole room, is now a historical artifact. There are modern recreations you can interact with online that simulate Eliza's conversational behavior. So, yeah, maybe I can do that on a live stream some other time. But I remember reading that you can play with it today. All right, so there you go. But yeah, we're in our third AI boom, is my point, and our, depending on how you look at it, third flavor of AI. But we've only had 2 bubbles burst. So if you follow patterns, we're gonna have an AI bubble burst. Okay, let's continue on with this report here.
They will put in specific conversations. He said this, I said this, he said this. What should I say? And the advice that comes back, they say, is actually very good and sounds tailor-made for them.
Right, but the problem is, Gail, that it is.
So does a fortune cookie.
Overall, very generic. It does not understand the context of your life, your lived experience, your unique situation and background. Something that only a trained therapist through interaction.
Empathy. AI doesn't have empathy. Although it could be argued that psychotherapists don't have empathy either. So.
In real time with somebody would say. There's also an objective part of therapy, which is like what we call the mental status exam, looking at somebody's grooming, their hygiene, how well dressed they are, their eye contact, their behavior. Are they fidgeting? Are they moving? Are they pacing? You can tell so much about a person face to face.
Right.
There's also the ethical standards of discrimination and bias, which we know a lot of the LLMs have. They don't understand the culture, the context, religion.
What's LLM?
These large language models or the chat bots, whatever, they don't understand. And there's a lot of stigma sometimes that, unknowingly comes. There's no sense of responsibility. A human being, right? There's someone that is responsible and accountable. They're dangerous in the sense that they can sometimes reinforce false beliefs. If somebody.
So there you go. Like sometimes the AI doesn't know that it's giving bad advice because it doesn't have empathy. Maybe bad advice could come across as sycophancy, kissing your butt. It could give life-altering advice that could be very damaging, right? So we don't need super intelligence. That we can have plenty of collateral damage with the AI we have right now. Is all I'm saying.
Somebody's having delusions and they think that, I'm Jesus Christ or I'm this, or somebody's out to harm me. It can say, you're right, you're really special. And we have seen that in the news.
Because at times it could mirror what you are prompting it, right? So what I am putting into the chat bot is basically how I see the world.
Exactly.
So it's almost like I'm manipulating the response that I want to get.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's the sycophancy that I'm talking about. After a while, the best way to describe it is the chatbot will start to, like he says, mimic your worldview. Because I remember when I first started using ChatGPT, it was very woke, very DEI, and I kept pushing back on it. And now I don't hear any of that at all. It totally mirrors my worldview, which I don't know if is great because, sometimes you have to be exposed to the other worldview. But I mean, there's so many other algorithmic bubbles that we're stuck in through social media, our video recommendations on Netflix, you name it. We're spending our life just jumping from AI bubble to AI, or I'm sorry, algorithmic bubble to bubble to bubble to bubble. Yeah, you're right, Lily. Sigmund Freud certainly did lack the empathy. In fact, I think that was part of his psychotherapy is that you weren't supposed to show that. But he also said, you know, the only way through psychotherapy is to have a lot of it. He was all about that coin. All right, let's get back to it.
And it can double down on it, and it may not effectively push back and say, you know what, in all due fairness, I understand that you're feeling these thoughts, and I understand that the distress that is causing you. But a therapist would say, but let's actually look at the evidence. What is there to support that?
Let's unpack it.
Yes, and not picking up on cues of suicide, for example. If somebody's depressed, it doesn't necessarily.
I didn't say that word, YouTube. That was in a video. I did not say that word. Chill out.
Necessarily ask you, how is your sleep? It dominates the conversation. It doesn't say how is your mood. And it may even give you methodology on how to harm yourself. So as a psychiatrist...
Yep. Yeah, she's amped up. You can tell. She deals with she's definitely passionate about this topic.
I'm worried.
So let me ask you about this recent Brown University and Stanford University study that looked at how chatbots responses, how they compare to basic clinical standards from a doctor. What did those studies show?
Yes. So, you know, we see with the Stanford study, it talks about the lack of empathy that it can have. Both Stanford and Brown talked about what we call deceptive empathy, that the chatbot may say things like, I see you, I understand you, only I can understand you.
Yep.
And that can be, you know, very intoxicating for a person who is vulnerable, who says, no one understands me. I feel alienated. I feel isolated.
This is the people that have problems with social cues too. So autism, certain forms of or more acute depression, vulnerable populations, and then young kids. They don't have strong social skills.
Tell me more. And
but
yes, and then it starts to not only give you harmful methods, but it doesn't protect you. It doesn't send you to treatment.
Right, but so how did that compare to what a doctor would tell you?
Yes. So a doctor would say, you know, let me ask you questions about self-harm. Let me ask you, like, have you ever had thoughts of hurting yourself or hurting anybody else? It will very quickly pick up, and it will also understand the underlying things that you may not, that a chatbot might not ask you. What do you love in life? What do you enjoy? What do you get pleasure out of in life? Yeah. To me, that is the hallmark of depression, when a person has depressed mood, apathy, has checked out, but has also lost interest and pleasure, lost weight. So there's so...
Yeah, this is coming to an end. But yeah, see, there's a lot of not just visual cues, but see, in the chatbot doesn't pick up on your tone, right? You can say, F you, right? All the different ways you can use the F word and invoke different meaning. Chatbot doesn't pick up on that all the time. So yeah, not good. Let me switch over to another video here. Or you know what? Let's give our brains a rest. I didn't do my weekly AI slop. I found this video that is it's Star Wars, but it's ruined by AI.
Chancellor.
Are you all right, dude?
Count Dooku. That makes sense. Well then, I'm definitely counting just one Dooku. 2 against 1. Looks like we've got the advantage.
Learn to count, Kenobi? Excellent. You'll need that skill when you're counting your teeth on the floor.
I don't carry spare teeth around, but I'd be happy to count your legs instead.
Enough chatter, Kenobi. Show me what you're made of.
Oh, you'll see soon enough. Go on, make your move.
I don't know about that Darth Vader wrist action, but that's not looking good.
My powers have doubled since the last time we met, Count.
Multiply by 0 all you like, boy. It's still nothing.
We'll see how tough you sound after this.
What's the matter, Skywanker? Can't clap back, so you pull the strap.
So what do you call a Mexican standoff in space? I don't know. Let's ask ChatGPT, because I got to pause for fair use. All right. Let's see if I can get away with this. I think I'm going to get called out on this. All right, Chat GPT. What do you call a Mexican standoff in space? I don't even know if it'll understand the question, honestly. Oh, okay. I guess it kind of knows I'm a little bit of a smart aleck. It says a galactic standoff, or if you want something a little punchier, a cosmic standoff, a zero-G showdown, a space race face-off. I kind of liking that one. A three-body problem for nerds. That's actually pretty good. Okay. All right, whatever. AI slop, what are you going to do?
Damn stairs.
Ooh, dude.
Mr. Palpatine, there are too many of them. What are we going to do? 911? Yeah, some lunatic's coming at me with a chainsaw.
You little snitch. I'll step out and find you. Get your hands off me. I did nothing. I'm a law-abiding Sith, damn it.
The CEO of Instagram.
All right, hold on. I clicked on something and something totally random came up. That was unintended. But yeah, Batty, I wouldn't pay money to see that, but I would definitely give it my attention. Yeah, Machete in space. Actually, I think they made that, didn't they? I think they already did that. If I recall. There's like 3 or 4 of them. Anyway. And by the way, good to see you, Batty. Thanks for coming out tonight. Happy Valentine's Day. All right, so something that I wanted to talk about that I'm not really seeing a lot of people talk about. So I found this one guy that finally is putting more dots together. Because, you know, like I was saying earlier, I just feel like now I watch people talk about AI on the internet, and they're all saying the same thing I'm saying. So I want to add to the conversation, right? So one thing that a lot of people I don't think are paying attention to is I'll throw some other dots out there for you. Our birth rate is below replacement. So there's less people coming up in this world, which means less folks paying taxes into our social security system, right? So we have that. We also have a lot of people leaving the workforce, right? So we got boomers are retiring en masse, and we're going to start to see that wealth transfer they always talk about. But at the same time, the job replacement with AI is going to start happening if you believe what everybody's saying. So more specifically with physical AI, robots. Well, robots, unless they're going to change the laws, they're not going to pay income tax, right? They don't get sick. They can just keep working. All they got to do is plug in and recharge and then get back to it again. So what's going to happen with retirement for us older Gen Xers? You know, I'm 56. You know, what is it? The first retirement age is 62, right? Let me get my numbers right here. Let me pull up Jiminy Cricket, make sure I'm getting this right. What are the retirement ages in the United States? I believe it's 62, 67, and 70, I think. I can't remember. They've changed it a couple times already. And I think they might actually end up changing it again. Yeah, 62, 67, and 70. Yeah. So the idea is like if you retire at 62, you get a little, you get like a base amount. And then if you can like face it off to 67, you get like another $100 a month. Woo! And then 70, you get a full boat $250 or more a month. My philosophy is fuck that up. 62, I'm filing. I'm getting what I can get now. Because, you get the Medicare and Medicaid too. Or Medicare. So my point is that this gentleman here, he's starting to connect the dots. He's starting to talk about this in a way I haven't really heard anybody in finance and economics talk about how we've got a big problem looming. And I want to play the first 5-6 minutes of this, and he hits on it's perfect. He hits on everything. And then I'll throw in some more 2 cents on top of it. Well, here, we got some chats going on here. Let me just check the chat box real quick. Are you weighing in on the machete? I think Mel Gibson was in it. Oh man, it was crap. That is why I don't remember it. I was like, because I just remember the poster, bro, of Machete in space. That's all I saw. I was like, yeah, I don't need to watch it. I already saw it. The poster just has the plot already. Yeah. The new age for retirement is death, Batty. In some sense, I'm with you on that. I'm just under the assumption that there's not going to be a retirement, at least not in the sense that we understand that it was for our parents, and especially the great generation, silent generation. I don't think that we're going to experience retirement in that way. I'll save that next point that I was going to say after this video, because it'll make more sense. I'm a little out of sync, Lily. You says it is in the UK now. Could you explain that for me a little bit? I'm a little slow tonight. Sorry. But while I'm waiting for that, let's watch the first little bit of this. And I think I muted it. Hold on. There we go.
The AI race. A lot of people out there, what are you talking about? America's doing a great job. We've got Grok and Chat GPT and all that. Well, guess what? These people are actually measuring the wrong thing. So we're going to talk about that today and why we're actually losing the AI race if you look at it in the big picture.
Finally, somebody else who says we're losing. I'm the only person, I swear, that says we're losing the AI race.
The people don't usually look at things at the big picture. They only look at what they're looking at and how many iterations of Chat GPT or Grok or how much it can do in a second and how many data centers we have built and all that. And they are not looking at the big picture. So we're going to talk about that today. We've got a bunch of, basically you could think of it as you've got a house, got a whole family, and the little boy has invited a lot of his friends over for a sleepover, and they're in the basement and they're playing with matches, and the rest of the family are asleep upstairs. And guess what these little boys are going to do with their matches? They're going to burn the whole house down.
YouTube, this is not me saying that, by the way, because it's fair use. And I'm transforming this work with my commentary. And I would never explain anything in an analogy like that. Man, this algorithm's going to hate me tonight.
So we're going to talk about that today. So Goldman Sachs that says that AI and robots are set to probably get rid of about 300 million jobs. And that's not one of those things in the future. It's already happening. All you have to do is open up the newspaper, if those still exist, Google News or whatever your
and really quick, if you remember the video I made on Amazon announcing, I think it was 4 months ago, maybe even 6 months, that they had just surpassed the same number of humans in their warehouses with robots, right? So robots, again, I always say this, robots don't have to be bipedal. They don't look like C-3PO. They can do all kinds of things. You just could be a little skateboard that has a cart for a shell, right? So, yep. And I think the number was 1 million. 1 million robots alongside 1 million employees in warehouses.
Poison of choices. Go ahead and check it out. And Amazon laid off a lot of people. USPS laid off a lot of people. My agency that I work for, Social Security Administration, got rid of over 7,000 people. It's happening across the country. And Silicon Valley, these guys that run these computer people that are in control of our lives, that are in the basement with these matches, their philosophy has always been move fast and break things. You know,
that comes from Mark Zuckerberg, by the way. He coined that phrase.
When they're coming
Facebook.
out with new technologies, new apps, new computer system, it's always move fast. You got to move fast. You got to break things, and then you put them back together later. Guess what? The break things is the American society and our livelihoods. And this,
by the way, that's around startup culture, not around AI. That's just how like it's a philosophy around building software. But we don't build software anymore with humans. So
this is what they're missing. So you've got all of these people, millions of people are going to be losing their jobs to AI and robots. This is the same thing that happened in the 70s and 80s, only the jobs were sent overseas, predominantly blue-collar jobs. And now we've got white-collar jobs that are also being sent over, and also more blue-collar jobs, customer service jobs. Everything across the board can be done by AI and robots. Elon Musk has already shut down one of his car plants that produced the Model X and the Model S, and he is going to be building robots. And
yeah, I didn't report on that, but just I'll repeat it again because it's actually really huge. Elon Musk is rolling back on Teslas and going full balls to the wall on his robots, right?
And maybe for about $20,000, $30,000, he's estimating, you could buy a robot to do whatever you needed to do and replace the worker that was making money and also making money paying taxes, paying in.
What? Where have you heard that before?
Social Security, so that's going to be an issue in the future. So we don't really have a social safety net here. We built the safety net beginning in the Great Depression, 1935.
True. And what he's not going to say, which a lot of people don't realize, is that the Social Security system was originally meant for war widows, right? Women who lost their men in the war. And they just kept bolting on more crap. And what he's going to go on to explain here in a second is that it's already broken. It's already broken. That when you went on, I think I took the video off, but there was another video that I did very early in the life of this channel where I talked about how it was around Doge was coming in. And at that time, I just assumed there's going to be no Social Security because of all the waste and fraud. And then Doge come in. I'm like, oh, maybe we've got some hope, because they're going to shed all the crap that's sucking all the, causing all the inflation, whatever. But now the AI is coming on, robotics coming on. Now you've got less money coming into the system because less humans are being taxed on their labor. So, but yeah, originally for war widows, now for everybody.
Rebuilt it again during the Great Society in the 1960s, Medicare, HUD, all the rest of it in 1965. We've been building onto it, and now it's pretty much been decimated. This is why I do a YouTube channel every day, and we are the biggest YouTube channel in America for Social Security and Medicare. We just reached 100 million views, getting close to 700,000 subscribers. And in any other country, you wouldn't need this. We wouldn't need a channel like this where I help people get the benefits that they're eligible for, that they paid for, what the benefits that they need in retirement when they become disabled, lose a loved one. This channel wouldn't work in most countries, but in America, 100 million people or 100 million views say, hey, Ed, yes, I need your information. I need your help getting my benefits because we've decimated the social safety net, including Social Security. People are having a hard time getting Social Security, getting food stamps, now health care is under attack. Medicare, they're starting to do prior authorizations. Medicaid, $1 trillion, close to $1 trillion is being cut out of Medicaid. A lot of people are going to be losing health care.
Yeah. So a lot of systems are breaking down. That's no doubt. Good night, Lisa. Thanks for joining us tonight. Happy Valentine's Day. Yeah, Batty, I saw this video. I think it was at, was it the World Economic Forum? I don't know. One of those weird NGO funky things where Elon Musk like you said, he was interviewed saying in 20 years we won't need money to retire. Yeah, I think we're going to become the human batteries as well. But yeah, that's pie in the sky stuff. But that's after we get to utopia. What about all the turmoil between now and then? Nobody talks about that. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to get wiped out by this. So yeah, at this point, I'm just assuming I'm not going to retire. I don't think I'll be able to retire, at least not in the traditional sense of my parents. See, my dad, he's a Vietnam veteran. He's got disability from that because there was some Agent Orange thing, some other things that he was exposed to. He's like super hard of hearing because he flew jets. So, you know, he gets disability from that because they'll say, oh yeah, because of all the loud jets made you go deaf. So yeah, you know, he's got full boat coverage. He's good. But yeah, I just don't see those kinds of benefits for not the veterans, but like, I just don't see everybody getting under retirement. And then you have the UBI argument, which I think this gentleman will get into. But again, you have to collect the taxes to do that. So, I guess I'm going to go ahead and mention it now. I'm going to make a little prediction here. I think eventually it's going to have to be to where the tariffs are going to be a large form of the revenue. And in the long term, I think a lot of folks are going to eventually be glad that Donald Trump did that. As much as, you know, a lot of people are annoyed by him. The tariffs are kind of like the only way you're going to get things to generate revenue, because I don't think you're going to have like consumer goods like we see them today. I think it's going to be mostly around like commodities, like wheat, sugar, materials that are consumed to build things, ingest things like that. And the tariffs around those things going between countries, that's going to be obviously one layer of revenue generated, because there just simply aren't going to be enough people working. But then there's the argument, well, there's going to be millions and millions of robots, way more robots than people, but are they going to tax these robots? And how are you going to measure their productivity? Because you're not paying them a wage. So there's really no metric to go, well, okay, you're a coder bot. So you're not necessarily like a physical robot, but you're a coder bot and you generated this amount of value. Companies are going to be way more complex and complicated to understand that. The level of complexity that companies are going to eventually achieve because of these AIs in combination with the physical AI, which how you tax those. You know, I moved a screw from here to here. You know, how do you measure the productivity and the value that was generated by that? And how do you tax that? Or do you just do a flat tax? Nobody's having this conversation yet, but I think that's what Elon Musk is kind of getting at, is like, you know, he's thinking that problem will be solved. You know, UBI will probably be from, you know, taxing all these robots, and he's probably just expecting that. You know, because you got to remember, like before we had income tax, corporations, I believe, were taxed in the 90 percentile. I think all the way up to World War II. In fact, let me ask ChatGPT that. But yeah, because income tax started, that was Woodrow Wilson right after World War I, and that was only meant to be temporary, and we all know how that went. All right, so let me ask Jiminy Cricket here. So before income tax, which was started by Woodrow Wilson in the United States, how did governments generate revenue? Probably could have clarified like how to operate, but I think it'll probably understand. Yeah, tariffs, right? So trade, import taxes, excise taxes, land sales. All right, that's interesting. Fees and other sources. So postal service fees, patent fees, fines, custom duties collected at ports. So the vast majority of it is commerce, moving between countries and borders. Let's see. Wasn't there also a corporate tax in the 90 percentile range leading up to World War II? I got Swiss cheese brain, so this will help me get this rolling. Yeah, here we go. Top individual income tax rates pre-World War II. Let's see, during the Great Depression and World War II, top marginal and individual rates rose sharply. Under Franklin, the top rate increased to 79%. And from 44 to 45, it was 94% on very high incomes, and that was pay for the war effort. Let's see. So that was income tax for over $200,000, but $200,000 in the 40s was just like, that's like JP Morgan cheese, man. Like top, like 0.2% of the population. Let's see. Corporate income taxes. Oh, I was wrong. So the 90 percentile was income taxes. Okay, so a corporate income tax from the 10s to the 20s was around 10 to 15%, and in the 1930s during the New Deal was 15 to 19%, and at World War II it peaked around 40%. That is crazy. And through the 70s it rose to 70%, and then Reagan came in, and cut it down quite dramatically to 35%, and now it is at 37%. Which still is, that's a lot. That's still a lot of money. But anyhow, the point is that we've got multiple generations now on people paying income tax, which go into the programs bolted onto Social Security. So, yeah. All right. Let's get back to Dr. Ed Weir here. Piled higher and deeper.
Losing retirement. So we don't, our social safety net is far from crumbling. It's pretty much non-existent for a lot of people. And when AI comes in, robots come in, it's going to get 10 times worse. And the social safety net is going to be, it's already at a breaking point. I think it's going to go over that breaking point.
Yeah.
The rich and powerful who are doing this, they're throwing out those ideas, kind of those carrots, the little, the treats out there. And they say, oh, UBI, we're going to have UBI. And I talked about this a few days ago.
Yeah, before he gets into the UBI conversation. I lost it. It'll come back to me.
Universal basic income. So Elon Musk can say, oh, yeah, we got to have UBI. We got to have, because we're going to have these robots and AI, and they're going to produce so much, and it's going to be so awesome. We're going to have so much abundance, so people won't have to work. And because there's going to be so much abundance, everybody's going to get money. Well, we are the richest country in the history of the world, and we already have an amazing amount of abundance. You know, Elon Musk might be the first trillionaire in world history.
Yeah, we got all those Leering centers too.
Is the money coming down to help people right now? All those people are struggling, those people that are homeless every single day, the retirees that if they miss one Social Security check, they're over. Is that money going out right now? Is that money helping? No, it's...
Yeah. Let me talk a little bit about the human condition. There's a book. It's kind of popular. And it has a story about a big flood that wiped out a lot of people that were greedy and wicked. That's the human condition. I think that's the way things are going to tend to go. You want to rely on a billionaire to write you a check every month, or a trillionaire to write you a check every month? I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen.
So those people saying, oh, no, we got to have the money now to build AI robots and all this other kind of stuff. I got to have this money so we can, do all this space type stuff. And then it'll turn around and says, okay, yeah, we need all this money because I've got to build a star base on the moon. And so it's never about helping the people that actually need help that are going to be displaced. Let me know in the comments. Do you think once this comes to it, to a head, do you think the people that have all this money are going to give it up? And
what do you think, chat? What do you think? No, I don't think so, but I'm curious what you think. You think that people are that nice, right? Yeah. This is true. This is true. Batty, there's always going to be people they'll take the money and run. You know, it's good enough. We have a whole culture around in the United States around welfare, and I'm sure in the UK, you know, you got people that what do they call it, on the dole, that work the system there. France, same thing. But now we got people that are gaming the system so hard they're not even from here. You know, Leering Center, all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing we're finding this out now. We're weeding it out, but it's too little, too late. Let's get back to this.
Fund a universal basic income so people can have a basic income, so they can have a roof over their head, food in their mouth, and able to see the doctor when they get sick. Do you think the people that are going to get that money are going to give it up? Have they so far? Not so much. All right, so what about social cohesion? Here's the other part that these people that are building.
And this is another reason why I really wanted to show you this video, is like, this guy is like touching on everything. I talk about these algorithmic bubbles and the isolating effect. Check this out.
And all these AIs and robots aren't thinking about. They're actually making it worse. So if we're going to have all these AI robots and we're going to be losing all these jobs, there is no social safety net to capture people. We can get together like we did during World War II, get together, fight. You look at Arlington National Cemetery, it's not broken into red, blue, you know, liberal, conservative, all.
Yeah, all them tombstones are alabaster white, right? Thank you for your service, by the way.
All those people were fighting to protect America, but we don't have that nowadays. We don't have that Arlington Cemetery type of everybody fought and joined together, the greatest generation, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, now we got Karens finger wagging in the streets of Minnesota. Yeah, Lily, this is not surprising. Just same thing with like here in the Somalians. Yeah, there was fraud here in the States, but they were shipping cash out back home, right? They were extracting benefits. And then I was talking earlier about the North Koreans trying to get into American companies, and then that report was them getting into the companies physically, but they're also doing it online. I was talking to another gal at my reunion last night who hires for the USDA. And she said that they just went through and routed out a bunch of employees that were, how do I put it? They were hired as one person, but they would dole out the work to like all their other buddies. So it would look like this person had all this skill set. I don't know how they passed the interviews, to be honest, but they would all live in a house, be like 6 or 7 of them with this, and they would get the one job, and then they would do the same thing and get a second, a third, and a fourth job, and all at different companies while they were overseas in India. I'm like, H-1B my ass. They don't even need it. So I was like, damn, this is a huge problem. Like they're getting in there, and the companies aren't going to fix it because, you know, they're getting them on the cheap already. And, you know, the work still gets done, right? So yeah, this is upsetting. It upset me. That really upset me. You know, trying to get the same job, and here I am fighting against one dude who gets 4 of them and then doles them out to all of his other buddies. Bullshit. All right, let's get back to it.
We've lost that social cohesion with AI, the algorithms. This is one of the reasons sometimes we have to do a thumbnail in our YouTube social media that kind of pushes the envelope a little bit so people will get it, because these social algorithms that push these, they really
Shock.
want kind of that rage,
Clickbait.
that rage baiting and
Yeah.
get people angry. And people are definitely angry in the United States, and they're divided. No longer is it, okay, yeah, you have this opinion, I have this opinion, but we're all Americans and we're all trying to do the right thing. We've got different paths to get to where we want to make America great, but
Yeah.
we all want to make America great. That doesn't seem to be happening anymore. It's either you're on the left path or the right path, and never those twain shall meet, I guess.
Yeah. So we have, I've talked about the algorithmic bubbles, where people, they're not exposed to other opinions or other, even debate. And so they watch YouTube videos or on social media, and all they see is their worldview reinforced. Now you got AI talking to them, kissing their ass, reinforcing their worldview. And then they go out into the real world and they can't deal with it. They can't handle somebody with a different opinion. That's these Karens that are in the streets, like dying over this stuff. It's crazy. It's crazy. But that's the side effect of this. That's the world he's describing, you know, where it was like, you'd have Democrats, you'd have Republicans. They both went to war and fought, you know, for what they believed in, even though it wasn't exactly the same. Their paths to get to the same result were different. They would, you know, debate, argue about it, but they didn't want to, like, you know, and run each other over with cars and finger wag over it and lose their mind over it. That's what's new. Let's see here. We got some interesting chats. Yeah. Batty, this is exactly the side effect of algorithmic bubbles. You never see the other, you don't even know what the other side thinks. And then, shock of all shocks, you're like, these people are crazy out here. Nobody is speaking like I'm speaking. Yeah, so both sides end up thinking they're right because they get that validation through the algorithm. And yeah, that coexist sticker, it ain't the thing anymore. Yeah, let's see here. You're asking about the self-driving car company. Yeah, I did hear a news story about that where, but I think it was a robot. I don't think it was a self-driving car with air quotes. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you had somebody actually sitting there like we have the drone pilots during previous conflicts that would be out in Nevada, in Las Vegas, Nevada, in those cargo rooms, cargo container rooms, piloting drones and, like, you know, take the shot, stuff like that. I wouldn't be surprised. There was the first launch of Elon's robots early last year. Those were remote controlled, but they were just trying to bridge to when they could be more autonomous because they knew that was coming. But those were remote controlled. I wouldn't be surprised if we have, actually, no, this did happen. This stuff's changing so fast. I think I did a live stream. I had it in a live stream where people would go up to the drive-through and people were taking their orders overseas. And then however many months later, then it was AI taking their orders. So that seems to be the pattern, is like, okay, we'll have the humans come in, and then we'll plop the AI in. And I think what that is just like a last test to make sure everything's working. And then another layer to train the AIs, and then they flip the switch. I think that's kind of like the methodology now. Yeah, that's a great question. Who's working for the good of the community because they're not in your community? But, you know, the last laugh's kind of going to be on them because all the customer support jobs, a lot of the stuff that's, you know, phone work, things like that, that stuff's going away. So I think that a lot of those countries that all the outsourcing was going to, they're going to get wrecked. They're going to get wrecked hard. All right. I interrupted Dr. Weir. Let's get back to him. I got excited.
So the social cohesion. So AI robots start coming in there, there's no social safety net to catch people, and we can't get together, it seems, even on our channel here when we do a live Q&A, which we're about to start here, answering your questions. We get people that pop in every now and then and just want to throw, kind of throw a Molotov cocktail into it and says, oh yeah, we're trying to help people, the survivor, get benefits, a surviving spouse from their deceased spouse, and somebody comes in here and starts, trolls, start harassing other people. And it's like,
dude, that's lame. You're like trolling retirees. Well, you might as well retire under a bridge. I know I am. All right. Anyway, that was the end of the video. He's going to go into the live Q&A. We don't want to watch boomers ask questions about retirement. Yeah. Okay. So let me queue up the next thing here. You can look at my potato head while I get that ready. So, I've mentioned off and on that I kind of felt something brewing around a more negative look at smartphones and social media. There's going to be more lawsuits, class action lawsuits like Philip Morris. And it looks like this is starting to really take off. And this week there was a story around, TikTok and Instagram got sued by a group of families, and then they settled out of court. And I think Meta is going through a trial right now, but they're smaller trials, but I think it's starting to build up into something bigger. So I found a news report on the Instagram CEO on his takeaway of what's really going on with social media and addictive behaviors and other problems. Because, by the way, the addictive behaviors, it's not just that, but it's also algorithmic bubbles, not being exposed to other opinions, healthy content, and also to the eroding of critical thinking, empathy, and judgment as a result of these technologies giving you all these dopamine hits. That's the side effect of extensive repeated dopamine hits. All right, so let's get back to, or let's start this video. Hello. All right, here we go.
In the hot seat, Adam Mosseri testified for nearly 6 hours yesterday defending his app against accusations.
Damn, 6 hours. Getting grilled. Fair use, YouTube.
That intentionally addicted and harmed teens in a landmark social media trial. Trevor Ault has more.
Well, Perry, this is social media literally on trial. Platforms like Instagram and YouTube accused of being harmful to children and designed to be addictive.
I'm not saying that, YouTube. That's a video I'm reacting to.
On Wednesday, Instagram CEO Adam Mosseri testified for nearly 6 hours. He says Instagram is not clinically addictive and that the platform is always trying to be as safe as possible.
It's always the semantics. It's not clinically addictive,
while also censoring as little as possible, and that means there is a trade-off between safety and speech. Mosseri highlighted user controls on Instagram. He implied it is easy to silence the app. Now, this case is centered on a now 20-year-old who says social media platforms are to blame for her having anxiety, depression, and body image issues. Her attorney presented emails showing experts had warned Instagram executives that the platform's so-called plastic surgery face filters could have harmful impacts for their users' mental health.
That's interesting. There are also a lot of studies around the different effects of social media on young girls versus young boys, young adults that are women versus men, and there is a marked difference. And it's kind of apparent too, by the way, how women use social media or girls use social media versus men and boys. Totally different.
Meta says in part this 20-year-old faced many significant, difficult challenges well before she ever used social media.
She was already cray-cray. It's not our fault.
CEO Mark Zuckerberg is set to testify next week. TikTok and Snapchat were also named in this lawsuit, but they settled their cases ahead of the trial. The result of this case could be pretty massive. There have been more than 1,000 lawsuits with similar claims against social media companies. Perry. All right.
That's going to take a real smart lawyer to get all them cats herded together. It's already 1,000 lawsuits. You know, there's an ambulance chaser just salivating to be the next Philip Morris victory. You know that's coming.
Trevor, thank you. So for more, I want to bring in ABC News contributor and Google Tech policy fellow Mike Muse. Mike, thank you for joining us here today on this Thursday. What are your biggest takeaways from Messeri's testimony?
From Messeri's takeaways, what I gathered is that the complications of this trial, as Messeri said, that this is the first time he's ever had to experience this trial. And this is the first time that social media has had a trial by jury. And having a trial by jury, you are engaging with potential jurors who possibly may be parents themselves. And so it is a difficult line for Meta and for all these social media platforms in order, how do they defend the algorithm, how do they defend their platform, and how do they defend the research and studies that they did internally?
I could tell you exactly how they could do it. The very thing that makes it dangerous is actually their defense. But you see, the algorithm's different for everybody. Social media is different for everybody. I could show you Batty's timeline. It's totally different from Jacob's. So how could it be possibly harmful? It's different for everybody.
While trying to explain the business.
By the way, you know why this guy's not wearing a tie, right? Because he ain't got no neck.
Aspect of their platforms and the algorithms, while also too trying to understand the human nature and how humans and people interact with it. Something that was really interesting for me was Messeri said that every user interacts with the platform differently, and every user will have a different impact in terms of how they're received. He said something also too that I found that was interesting when he talked about it's not necessarily addictive as much as it is when you binge watch television and you have watched maybe 8 hours of programming, you don't feel good.
You know you can watch these on your television, right? Last time I don't know about Instagram, but YouTube you can watch on a TV. So I don't know how long that argument's going to last. And this brother's got a chain around. I just noticed he has a chain right here. Interesting. All right, continue on.
And then the third thing that I thought was also too interesting was this idea of how do you balance freedom of speech and people's ability to have choice? And that comes down to the filters that was discussed. At the heart of it, the plaintiff's lawyers discussed the beauty filters that caused her to have body dysmorphia. And so what Messeri said was that...
What? Oh, dysmorphia, like she doesn't like her image. I thought he said something else. Never mind.
They did ban them at one point, but then they lifted the ban because every user, again, has a different experience with social media and has a different mental fortitude. And so do you eliminate those filters from those who have more of a stronger mental fortitude in order to protect those with less? And so,
how do you determine that, though? How do you determine someone's mental fortitude? Are you going to like have a psych exam before you let them use your technology? What the hell? This is going to go all over the place. Yeah, Batty, start passing out the helmets and the knee pads. You remember what it's like, when we were kids? There ain't no helmets and knee pads and you ride your bike, jumping off cliffs with your BMX bike. There's a lot of kids that aren't with us today because of that. And that was for a good reason. I believe the saying is, if you're going to be dumb, you better be tough, right? I don't know if that was my grandpa said that, but I heard that somewhere else. And I've heard different variations of that over the years. But this is the problem with like wokeifying everything. You're not weeding out the stupidity. And you're not rewarding the common sense, right? Addictive nature of social media aside, but, here we go. Let's see, what is this? Lily, you're saying, I dislike almost everybody. Why has everyone turned into such numpties? I love slang from the UK. Numpties. What's the other one? Muppets. Awesome. All right, let's continue on.
But that is the balance when it comes to a platform that has hundreds of millions of users in terms of how do you balance that? And that's the scale that I think that these social media platforms are going to have to discuss to the jurors to give them context that this isn't just a United States issue, but this platform is for global users.
And then a lawyer for YouTube also testified, arguing that YouTube is not a social media site, but an entertainment platform that's more kind of like Netflix. What do you think the strategy is there?
That strategy is because this case is interesting is that they are not using, the plaintiffs are using a really unique strategy. Previously, social media platforms have been protected by Section 230, which doesn't prevent tech companies from being held liable for any speech that exists on their platform. But
that originally came from copyright concerns too, where it used to be, I think it's part of the Millennium, they call it the Millennium Copyright Act. This is when I was in the music industry. People would upload songs, their own songs, and then they would get deleted off the hosting because they were panicking. Like, but that's my music. Oh, we saw MP3 files, so we had to delete them because the companies were getting sued for songs getting distributed on their servers. But yeah, Batty, we tried to do it like Evel Knievel. I made it. For those of you that are younger, that are watching this on the replay, you have no idea how profound this statement is. I'm going to pull up something. Hold on here, because y'all got to see what Batty's talking about here. Let's see. Evel Knievel, Grand Canyon. You know what I'm talking about, Batty. Evel Knievel tried to jump the Grand Canyon. Let's see, the one with the rocket. Here we go. Let me see if I can find. Well, this is his son. Yeah, here we go. Let me get this queued up here. I think this is wasn't this like a live televised event, if I recall? See if you can see that, right? Got a big old ramp.
Knievel attempting to jump the Grand Canyon.
That was his RV.
Yes. He's hit the gap. He makes it.
And then he always munched it. That was the thing. He always munched it. Oh, man. And he didn't always get up either. That's what we're talking about. When Gen X talks about that, that's what we mean. Awesome. All right. Get back to the potato head here. Yeah, it was a way to go. I remember there was in the area I lived in was semi-rural. And there was this road that would just end in a dirt field, and it was downhill, and somehow all the water would drain from the streets, and it caused this big eddy and a massive sinkhole, and we would just ride our bikes and just like jump in the sinkhole, and a couple guys lost their bikes in there. And I come back home, I'm like covered in mud. Mom wouldn't like complain. She's like, get in the shower, get in the bath. I came home before the lights came on, so it was all good. Yeah, we didn't think about making parachutes. I got a story about that. I actually tried to jump off a carport with an umbrella like Mary Poppins. That sumbitch went. I broke my ankle. I had to go to the hospital for that one. Yeah. I told my folks that I jumped off a dumpster, tried to make it like less high, but actually it was like basically like off a first story building. Jesus Christ. Now that I look at it, Jesus. My friends pulled out a skateboard and rolled me on it and like pushed me back to the house to the front of the door. And I'm like banging on the door. Let me in. At least I didn't break a bone or I sprained my ankle and I didn't break any skin. So It was all good. Yeah, that's what we talk about, Lily, when we do it like Evel Knievel. All right, let's queue up the next thing here. Let's see, where was I? I had get my ducks in a row here. So that's all the videos I have around YouTube, but now we've got something going on here. We got Simo Loop of what is it? Which piece of crap Marvel movie that karate one? Something in the 10 Rings. I wasn't big on that one. Not the movie, but the comic. But he had to get his 2 cents on this new AI generated video of Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise fighting. See here, it says, lol, anyone who has ever watched a martial arts movie knows this is absolute dog shit. By the way, we're going to go through how people railed him for this. But let's watch the video real quick. I mean, this is from what AI video was just even like 3 or 4 months ago. Check this out. This is crazy good.
You killed Jeffrey Epstein, you animal! He was a good man!
He knew too much about our Russia operations. He had to die, and now you die too.
You killed Jeffrey Epstein, you animal! He was a good man!
There we go. And that, I mean, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. But, you know, if you are dealing with AI video, everybody knows that the benchmark for how good AI video is getting is generating Will Smith eating spaghetti, right? Everybody knows that. So let's check. Whoops, wrong window. Let me go back, because this is the thing. Oh, no, I better mute this. 2024, 25. And what's funny is a lot of this had to be done on AI overseas. Couldn't do this on AI domestically. Now they've got models that you can run on your own machine that are pretty good. Kling 3 in Higgsfield, yep. Wow. Isn't that wild? Look how good that is.
Just talking.
That is crazy. And so, yeah, somebody says, it does not matter. In 3 years, you won't be able to distinguish a real movie from AI generated, assuming the writing is good. What do I always say? It's not the video, it's the story. And then what was this other guy said down here? Sergio says, you're missing the point. This showcases what technology can do, not the storytelling aspect. Just imagine what Spielberg can do with this technology. So yeah, it's just getting better. That's the point. And, but you know, this is the guy who basically, he called it. He's like, AI is coming for your job, buddy. I don't know. I just love it when celebrities get roasted. All right. But yeah, you know, Batty, I see you're doing a lot more with AI video. I don't know what your big plans are for your storytelling process, or I've seen you're doing more music, you're doing more songs, and doing more little clips. But are you thinking you want to make a movie or something? Because it's starting to look like they're even doing the edits for you now. Oh, really? And to think Wilmington, North Carolina just built 5 new sound stages and 2 more casting offices. They won't need it now. Yeah. That's the other thing, is that there's this massive exodus because of the unions and tax, what do they call it? Not write-offs, but incentives. a lot of that stuff, it's just like this weird incestuous thing. And, you know, you can't just like film in LA on the street anymore. You have to like hire a certain number of police. There has to be a smoke guy and a backup to the smoke guy, you know, to like add smoke to the scene. Then there has to be like 10 carpenters. They require you to hire a certain number of people. Yeah, it's crazy. And that's why a lot of these productions they're moving to different cities, going overseas. And this has always kind of been the case with television, but now you're seeing it really heavy with movies. I think Mel Gibson likes filming his new his sequels to what was the Passion of the Christ? He's filming 2 movies in a row in Italy right now. Crazy. I saw him, he was doing a story, he's getting interviewed, and he was saying that it was cheaper to fly people out to do reshoots to a foreign country than to just like do it in a studio on a stage because of all the union requirements. And he's not the only one that's said that. I've heard that from other celebrities as well. Yeah, you can do de-aging. I know they're trying it with a lot of actors now, for sure. I've talked about that movie with Sean Penn's ex, where they basically get her to sign a piece of paper and then poof, she's gone. Now we have your likeness. We can do whatever we want. Let's see if I can find another Evel Knievel. There was another, he did one with a rocket. Yeah, 1974. He launched, you know, I don't know if this is copywritten or not. I'll just show some shots for nostalgia. He was he set up this rocket, and then like it was on this like crazy ass ramp. Look at the angle on that. Beat that, Elon. And let's see here. We'll skip ahead. I believe he crash landed on the other side. I don't remember what happened. Let's see if I can. Oh yeah, the Yellow Jackets on CBS or ABC Sports. This is Howard Cosell. Oh, let's see what happened. Let's see if I can play the part where he did it. Looks like he got up. I don't know. I don't remember. It's 10 minutes long. I don't want to torture you. But anyway, yeah. He flew a rocket over the Grand Canyon is all I'm saying. Do it like Evel Knievel. All right, guys. I'm going to call it. My voice is starting to go. And it's been a crazy week. So I'm going to pick up next week with another live stream. I don't know if I'll have my long form video ready next week. I'm working on AI characters that will debate with my new setup. With the characters that are animated with visual effects in DaVinci Resolve. So I've been doing a lot of that, trying to get that process locked down. And then I'm also learning some new visual effects techniques that which actually, Batty, you go live every Tuesday, right? But what time is that usually? Because I've been meaning to get on there and bug you so that we can coordinate some things. And it just seems like by the time I find out about it, or remember, the community post I see is like a day old. So if I remember what time it is, I'll put it in my calendar and show up. But other than that, yeah, just going to keep forging ahead, doing long form videos around cloud architecture. Before I really like get super heavy back into like being on the camera again in long form video on this channel. Still going to do the live streams. Oh, 10 p.m. Eastern. Okay, cool. For those of you in the replay, if you want to catch Batty's live stream, check them out, 10 p.m. Eastern time. Oh, for me, anytime. Oh, How delicious. You don't want to open that. You don't want to open that door, Batty. You may regret it. But yeah, we'll talk about a couple things. I want to show you a couple things too that I'm thinking that we can layer on top of what you're doing and what I'm doing to kind of bridge things together using some visual effects. And they're not AI based, surprisingly. So yeah, we'll talk about it next Tuesday on your live stream. But everybody, thanks for joining me. If you made it this far, please like the video and subscribe if you haven't. Appreciate it. Help the algorithm. Send your old boy Jacob out into the ether. But until the next one, I'm going to give my voice a rest, and we'll pick it up next Saturday with a live stream. My button's changed. I'm sorry. Good thing I don't do this for a living. But anyway, everybody, have a great Valentine's Day. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And until the next one, peace.